Hello there everybody, Dash here again with yet another devlog video for Disharmony. This video is about a week late, I apologize for that, it's actually my fault this time. It doesn't have anything to do with technical difficulties or traveling or anything. I just didn't get enough work done to feel satisfied with making an entire video about it. So I gave myself another week, and this is what I have to show for it. Enjoy. First of all, a rather small but still significant thing to mention is that I managed to fix the issue with the soft locking whenever you ran into a door. This is no longer an issue. I have been running all over the game when testing, and it has not soft locked a single time since I fixed the issue, or supposedly fixed the issue. This is of course a good thing because I can keep the running mechanic, which I'm very happy with. Second of all, something you'll be seeing throughout this video is that when the player gets close to an object that you can interact with, a little exclamation mark will appear above the head to indicate that they can interact with said object. This isn't going to be a thing that's on by default, there's likely going to be a toggle for it in-game, since I'm afraid it could potentially ruin the, I suppose, immersion of the game seeing an exclamation mark all over the place. It also doesn't look very good since it's just the default exclamation mark from the font diary of an 8-bit mage. I'll probably make a custom sprite for it at some point, but for now it's just a simple exclamation mark. The reason I added this into the game as an option is that maybe you don't want to run around pressing Z on everything to see if there's any text related to it, or if something will change when you walk up to it or whatever. This does make it a lot easier to find Easter eggs and such, which could both be a good and bad thing, and that's why I'm including it as a sort of toggle for the game. It isn't 100% functional at the moment. I only wrote a few lines of code to make it work, so I haven't written any code that takes things like layers into consideration, so at times it will appear below certain objects, which doesn't look very good. And like I said I would be doing in the last video, I have started to sort of move away from White Ridge a little bit. There's still work to be done there for sure, but I thought moving to this area would be a bit more interesting to watch. So this is Oakhart, the second town of the game. Well, third if you count Sailor. Unlike White Ridge, which is a fairly modern looking town, Oakhart is more your sort of medieval style town, if you will. Something you'd see in a more typical RPG, I suppose. Much like with White Ridge, there is a tavern at the northern end of town. The song that plays in the background is even called At the End of the Road There's a Tavern. Although it's a lot less relevant than the one in White Ridge. It is a lot larger though. Also ignore the roof tiles at the very top because they don't really line up with the rest of them and it looks really ugly, and I haven't had time to fix that yet, but this is roughly what it's gonna look like. I haven't placed a lot of NPCs here yet. There's this dragon over here mumbling about how he wasn't allowed to enter a kingdom, which is a bit of an inside joke. You're not really supposed to understand what he's talking about. There's this guy smoking a cigarette who basically just drops some lore, I suppose. And then there's Amber, one of the main characters of the game. She doesn't have much to say at the moment, and she's a bit lonely. She's supposed to be with a group of travelers, but I haven't drawn their sprites yet, so she's kind of lonely by this fire. The fire also looks a little bit out of place, mostly because of the dark colors, I think. I'm gonna be cleaning it up eventually, but I just put it there as a placeholder. There's also a fountain in the middle, which acts as a memorial to King Caligar VII. Some of you might remember this town as well. This is a Halloween-themed town known as Insania. I haven't shown off too much of it yet. That's probably the next thing I'll be working on after Oakhart. But I added this lava pool down in the corner because I thought it was appropriate for the location. I think it's cute. Here's something a little exciting. This is of course an RPG, and I haven't really shown off a lot of enemies. I have plenty of sketches for enemy ideas and such, but I haven't actually implemented a lot of them into the game yet, so I thought it was about time I show off another enemy. Now this one isn't fully implemented with all the code and everything yet, but at least I recorded drawing its sprite, so that's kinda cool. The idea behind this enemy is that this potato here is kind of just dead, and the worm at the top is the one controlling it. I don't know where I got this idea from, but I sketched it down in a notebook like a year ago or something, and I thought it was too charming not to include in the game. So here you go, here's the potato worm thing. I don't know what to call it, or really what its battle gimmick is gonna be, but I just felt like drawing it, or animating it, I suppose. So here you go, have fun. And I think that's about it for the time being. Yep, 3 weeks and I still only managed to make a video this long, hooray. When starting up a new area, there's a lot of background stuff to set up, I need to draw a new tile set and yada yada, so it does take a bit of time. But once I get things rolling, I think this is going to be a pretty exciting area to work on. Also, with White Ridge, you must just saw me work on the main part of the town itself and not really any areas connected to it. That's going to change this time around, as there's a lot of areas connected to Oak Heart that are directly connected to story progress and such. The tricky part with making these videos is that I don't always know how much I should show, because I don't want to spoil the entire game, but I also don't want to leave every single detail out of the videos, so you know, it's a bit of a weird balance to strike. Although I don't feel too bad for mentioning this. The biggest area connected to Oak Heart is this forest, which will essentially act as one of the mandatory dungeons in the game that you need to get through in order to progress. So unlike White Ridge, where you basically just have to duel Ash, you're actually gonna have to go through and do some puzzles and such this time. So stay tuned for that in the future, I suppose. And I think that's gonna have to do it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, and have a good day.